So what am I fighting for? Everything back and more. And I don't wanna let this go. Ready to settle the score. Get ready, 'cause this is
Hello everybody and welcome to Robot Wars Reborn Cup Season 3. We've got another great episode for you tonight. If you're wondering why I own a PSG shirt, it's because I got it playing for some random indoor team. I would never buy this willingly. I think it's pretty obvious where my allegiance lies. That one, if it wasn't obvious. Anyway, there's a lot of scarves there, never mind. Anyway, time for Heat J, and it's been a crazy season. We can now truly say that because we are getting towards the latter stages of it. It's been a long time since we saw Heats A and B, where it was the likes of Fluffy and Splinter taking out seeded machines like Storm 2 and Carbide. But as we get towards the latter half of the Heats, there's still a lot of unknowns. There's still a lot of talent out there waiting for their chance to prove to you guys that they belong at the winner's circle. Someone else that likes to be in the winner's circle is Rich, and Rich, what the hell are you doing?
So, Bite Force, I've noticed that you're not competing at BattleBots this season. Yes, it's true. Apparently my owner is selling me online. That's what I've been hearing. But fortunately for you, I just happen to know who your new owner is. Really? I've just been sold? Yep. Someone has officially bought you. Would you like to meet your new owner? Oh, absolutely. Who is my new owner going to be? Hello again, dumbbell. What? Tombstone? Ha 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 ha. You bought me? Indeed I have. Losing to you once was bad enough, but losing to you twice, that's the final straw. And now that you are under my ownership, I shall teach you how to be the ultimate loser! Ha 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 ha! No! Are we recording? Let's start round one. So, what does Heat J have to offer us tonight? Well, I see the number 12 seed Dantomkia is battle ready. He'll be facing the American Jawbreaker General Chomsalot. Foxic has returned, hoping to get past the first round this time, but he's got a tough challenge up ahead in the form of Apollo. Mortis and Behemoth are also drawn against each other. They actually fought in Robot Wars in real life during the first World Championship. But leading things off tonight, it's the deadly, dangerous, dastardly Black Hole up against Wyrm.
From Alto Munster in Germany, Black Hole.
Black Hole is back in black, and he hits the sack with those twin vertical spinning discs of doom. He fell in the first round last season at the hands of Gravity. I would like to see him last long enough in the arena to show us what kind of damage he's capable of doing.
From Falker, Wyrm.
Wyrm's another returning contender, and yes, those numbers are correct. He won a fight last season, but that was against Robot the Bruce, and that's not saying much. Now here he is fighting Black Hole, a much better robot that should put up a better fight than Robot the Bruce, right?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
And we are underway with the first match of Heat J as Wyrm goes for the box rush and collides head-on with Black Hole, trying to prevent him from spinning up those discs. But of course, Black Hole ain't gonna let that happen that easily, as he is already doing a bit of damage to Wyrm's wedge as he gets under him with his own wedge. Black Hole had the lower wedge here, it seemed, as he is now pushing back on Wyrm, and they both go over the arena flipper. That was a pretty stupid thing to do, but thankfully for them, the flipper did not fire as they were over it, but of course we would have preferred it that way anyway. But we can't always have our way, can we? No, we cannot. Not in this timeline, not in this universe, or the next. And Black Hole presses the pit release button, and Wyrm does too for some reason. You know the pit release button only needs to be pressed once, right? Well, then again, we do have some incompetent people working with the pit, and Black Hole got a bit of a grind right there on the side of Wyrm's wedge and frame as he pushes Black Hole into the CPZ and lifts him up for a second. Black Hole getting away and goes in for another attack on the side of Wyrm and breaking off a piece of the wedge. Wyrm taking a bit of damage from those twin vertical spinning blades of Black Hole, who is now pushing Wyrm back into the wall. Wyrm pushing Black Hole toward the pit, but Black Hole able to swerve right out of it immediately. And not a lot is happening here, truth be told. Black Hole just chipping away at Wyrm. Wyrm going in for another lift, but Black Hole again able to slip right off of it. I was expecting more to happen between these two. I was sort of expecting the fight to be over immediately. Black Hole, he has a very dangerous weapon, and Wyrm is able to withstand the weaponry of Black Hole. Either that, or perhaps I may have overestimated the weaponry of Black Hole. And Wyrm able to fight back here, getting under Black Hole with the wedge again, but of course he couldn't get a lift in before Black Hole slipped away as he tried to swerve Wyrm toward the pit, but Wyrm is able to get right out of it in time. Black Hole now going in with the wedge. No, he's going in with the saws. Get out of the drop zone, you dummy! Both robots collide head on again. Wyrm unable to get under Black Hole. This is what happens when you have a wedge that consists of ram plates, because, you know, they're meant for ramming, not wedging. Does anybody know how to build in this tournament? Apparently not. Anyway, time is ticking down. It's going to go to the judges. Thank goodness. This fight was pretty tedious to sit through. Why am I getting paid to sit through these kind of fights? Actually, I'm not getting paid at all. Damn. I swear to God, if I have to sit through another boring-ass fight like the one we just saw again, especially if it consists of someone like Wyrm, I'm gonna squirm. Anyway, the judges have made their decision already based on aggression, strategy, control, and damage. And it's no surprise here, the winner of the match is Black Hole. He made himself a Heat semifinalist and is through to round 2. So long, Wyrm. Never come back again. Next up for this round, we've got Mortis, and we've got Behemoth.
From Cambridge University, Mortis.
I sense a bit of a pattern with Mortis here. He went 0-1 in Season 1, 1-1 last season. Do you think perhaps this season he could end up finishing 2-1? I think I'd prefer to do better than that, so don't answer that question.
From Hemel Hempstead, Behemoth.
Now, Behemoth, on the other hand, had the opposite pattern of Mortis. He went 1-1 in Season 1, 0-1 last season. This season, well, he can't do any worse than 0-1, unless he somehow goes 0-2 in a single elimination tournament, but that's not going to happen. Or will it?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So, it's a match between two Axe Flipper hybrids. Could they be evenly matched? We shall see, as both robots go over the arena flipper, and it's Behemoth that takes all the punishment from the floor flipper. Mortis just sort of flicked aside. I don't know what Behemoth was thinking here. He pushed Mortis off the flipper and ends up getting flung across the ring himself, and now he is up on his head as Mortis opens up the pit and is looking to put Behemoth down. Oh, Behemoth got away right at the very last second, and he now has Mortis turned up and over. Can Mortis right himself? Yes, he can, but Behemoth is right there, stripping away with his axe, and he got Mortis pinned up against the arena sidewall. Can he get him out? Can Mortis hold on? Can he get away? Yes, he can. He is away from the wall, but he is not out of the woods yet. Behemoth turns Mortis over again. Can Mortis recover from that? Behemoth got Mortis pinned up against another wall, swinging away with the axe. Oh, that was a good hit right there by Behemoth, and Mortis is now smoking. He has taken a lot of damage from the axe of Behemoth. He's now back on his back, and now back on his wheels after taking several punishing hits from the axe of Behemoth here. Behemoth showing no mercy, taking no prisoners. Mortis with a swing and a miss and a little lift with the lifter on Behemoth, and Behemoth returning the favor, tilting Mortis upward as they both go over the flame pit. Mortis is now coughing up more smoke as they both swing their axes simultaneously, and Mortis is now turned up and over again by the scoop of Behemoth. Mortis now on his side, struggling to right himself as he gets turned end over end as Behemoth goes peck, peck, peck with that pickaxe like Woody Woodpecker. Mortis in major trouble here, trying to get back on his wheels, and he is finally back on his wheels. Behemoth still swinging away with the axe, pushing Mortis toward the flipper, but Mortis backs out of it. He's like, no thank you, Behemoth. I saw what the flipper did to you. I'm not going to go through that same ordeal. And Behemoth is going, fair enough, Mortis. I'll just peck you to death instead. And that is exactly what happened there. Behemoth going in with the killing blows with that axe as Mortis lives his final few seconds of his life right here. And because of Behemoth, he is now deceased.
Cease.
Man, this fight was a huge step up to the fight that we started this heat with. Behemoth with a very devastating KO over Mortis. He's through to round 2. And now continuing on with round 1, we have a matchup between Foxic and Apollo.
From Bristol, Foxic.
The Fox returned. Foxic is back after going out in round 1 to Saint Aggro last season. Hopefully he's more in control this time around than he was last time. He ain't neurotoxic or cytotoxic, nor is he phytotoxic, but hey, that's Foxic.
From Birmingham, Apollo.
Apollo was the favorite to win his heat last season, and at first it looked like it was going to go that direction, with a win over Plunderbird and S3, but then the alien came out of nowhere and says, I'm taking the heat instead. Can Apollo get that heat victory he hoped to get last season? Who knows?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So, it's the Fox and the Flipper. And it's the Fox that scored the first successful attack. Foxic under Apollo and drives him into the arena wall. Foxic off to a brilliant start here, getting under Apollo not once but twice and slams him into the wall. Apollo landing on top of Foxic. This is not the kind of start I was expecting between these two machines. Apollo now under Foxic, and he throws him backwards, upside down. Foxic can right himself, and he does so with a little bit of help from Apollo as he flips Foxic over a couple more times. Foxic now on his back as he attempts to right himself, and he's now upended on his tail, and now he's back down on all fours again. Funny how I say Foxic is up on his tail even though he doesn't have one, but he should have one because he's modeled after a fox. Anyway, and I do believe Foxic might have the lower wedge between the two robots here, which means Apollo is going to have to rely on attacking Foxic from the side or from behind. Apollo firing with the flipper but misses, and he does so again, and he pops himself upward, and that leaves him vulnerable to an attack from Foxic, who gets under Apollo and pushes him into the pit release button. Foxic putting up a real good fight here. Apollo making a critical mistake, leaving himself exposed to that attack there from Foxic, as both bots are now hanging out in the corner patrol zone. Foxic overturned by Apollo again, and he rights himself with ease. Yeah, compared to his poor performance last season, Foxic is doing rather well here until that moment right there. He drove up and over Apollo and turned himself over. Apollo flipping him again, right side up. Foxic back on his wheels, back on the attack as he sort of nudges against the wedge of Apollo. Both bots hanging out in the corner patrol zone again. Foxic under Apollo again, driving toward the wall, and Apollo getting flipped over this time and having to right himself. That was a nice attack there by Foxic, who's putting up a real good fight against a Heat finalist from last season. Apollo fires with a flipper and misses again. He is struggling here against Foxic, who got him pinned up against the wall, against the pit release button. Apollo not able to do much there as Foxic gets another lift in there on Apollo. Apollo missing with a flipper again, and scores the flip there, turning Foxic over again. Apollo trying to hamper with Foxic's attempt to right himself. Apollo playing catch-up here, scoring another flip there on Foxic, who is still struggling to self-right. He is now on his side. That's a bad position to be in. Apollo slowly guiding Foxic toward the pit. Foxic right side up and now upside down again as he loses a piece of his lifter. He is still struggling to self-right. Apollo looking to push Foxic down, but Foxic is able to get back on his wheel before Apollo gets the chance to do so. As we are winding down the closing seconds of this match, it's going to go to the judges. This one is going to be real tight. One late flip from Apollo, and it goes to the judges. And so, we have our second judge's decision of this heat. Both bots put on a good show for the past 3 minutes, but of course, only one can advance to the next round. And the judges, after a little bit of deliberating, have finally made a decision. And no joke, it is a split decision, 2-1. It could go either way. However, I have a feeling there's going to be some controversy coming because the judges have awarded the victory to Apollo! Ooh, I don't know if I agree with that decision, and I'm pretty sure some of you out there don't agree either. Foxic did pretty well, but Apollo was able to make a good enough comeback to persuade the judges to put him through to round 2. And with that, we are off to our final match of round 1, the 12th seed Dantomkia against General Chomsalot.
From Chertsey in Surrey, seated number 12, Dantomkia.
Dantomkia has been given the lowest seed after he was unexpectedly thrown out of the arena by M2 during the semifinals losers melee. But he caused some great upsets along the way, such as defeating the number 2 seed Fluffy in the first round. Let's see if he has a trick up his sleeve tonight.
From New Berlin, Wisconsin, USA, General Chomsalot.
And now we welcome our only newcomer of this heat, that being the Jawbreaker with the nasty overbite, General Chomsalot. He may be 0-1 as of right now with a loss outside the Reborn Cup, but he is hoping to literally sink his teeth into victory tonight.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Let's see how the final round will conclude in this heat. Chomsalot off to a bit of a poor start. Gets flipped by Dantomkia just by going over him, and again flipped by that flipper of Dantomkia, and again gets flipped onto the arena flipper. General Chomsalot, I'm not so sure how effective that weapon of his will be against the number 12 seed, who just flipped him toward the wall onto the angle grinder, and again upside down. Dantomkia doing all the hard work very early on. General Chomsalot making a poor first impression here at the hands of the number 12 seed, as he is constantly getting turned over end over end. Dantomkia yet again with a flip on General Chomsalot, who just nicked the pit release button with his tire before getting tumbled over again by Dantomkia. Both bots collide head on. Dantomkia surprisingly did not win the wedge war. Well, he's able to get underneath General Chomsalot regardless, and he's now pushing him toward the wall. Can he get General Chomsalot out of the arena? Maybe. I mean, with a design like General Chomsalot, it may be very tricky to do so, but it's definitely not impossible. General Chomsalot getting to the side of Dantomkia, trying to do something with those jaws, because he's been getting tossed around by Dantomkia since the start of this match. And it looked like he's trying to lure Dantomkia toward the drop zone. Oh, Dantomkia climbing on top of General Chomsalot, but is able to get away very quickly. General Chomsalot, are you sure about that? Oh, the way you're performing here against the number 12 seed, you might as well be demoted to cadet, especially when this keeps happening to you. Dantomkia scoring flip after flip after flip over and over and over again. Chomsalot on his face. Can he get back down? Yes, he can. He's able to snap his mouth shut to fall back onto his wheel. Fall back. That was not an intended pun. I swear to God. You know, fall back. General soldier What am I doing with my life? Anyway, Dantomkia continuing his flipping frenzy on General Chompsalot, who hasn't been able to do a single freaking thing in this match. Oh, he just got a nip in on Dantomkia there, but Dantomkia able to spin out of it at the very last second. General Chompsalot had his one opportunity there to try to play catch-up against Dantomkia, but I'm not sure if either way Chompsalot will be able to rack up enough points or pull off the ultimate comeback here against the number 12 seed, because he is just constantly getting thrown around by Dantomkia, as evident here in the replay. Chompsalot being twirled around like a chef at a pizzeria throwing pizza dough up in the air. It's going to go to the judges yet again, our third judge's decision tonight, but I'm pretty sure you guys all know what the expected outcome is going to be. But of course, the judges are going to have to make it all official. And the judges have wasted no time making their decision here. You guys all know the criteria. You guys all know the winner. It's Dantomkia. No question about it. He has been dominating the fight from start to finish, and he is through to round 2 along with Apollo, Behemoth, and Black Hole. And now, round 2 is all set. We are going to see Apollo fight Dantomkia in a flipper frenzy. But up first, it's the battle of the letter B between Black Hole and Behemoth.
Privateers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And we are underway with the second round of this heat. Behemoth getting an early shot with the axe, and again next to the wheel of Black Hole, and again onto the wheel of Black Hole, who's struggling to get off Behemoth's scoop. There he goes, now he's up and away, only to drive right back onto Behemoth's scoop. What on earth was Black Hole thinking there? Behemoth getting some early hits in with the axe, scoring some direct hits on and around the wheel of Black Hole as he drives Black Hole over the arena flipper while continuously swinging away with that deadly pick of his. Black Hole trying to lead in with the wedge, but that did not work out in his favor as he had taken more damage from that axe of Behemoth. Black Hole had not been able to do anything as he is now smoking. Hang on, can Black Hole smoke? Something for Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson to think about. That right there is when the motor of Black Hole started coughing out smoke. And as a matter of fact, it looked like both of his weapon motors are now smoking. Black Hole had not been able to do a single thing against Behemoth. He had been dominant from the get-go, not giving Black Hole a chance to do much, if anything, at all. Behemoth now back in on the attack with the axe as he drives Black Hole into the wall, and he turns him upside down, finally using that lifting scoop for once. Black Hole can run either way up as he is now right side up again, courtesy of that scoop of Behemoth, who gets another shot in with the axe, and he's looking to go in for the kill, and he does so. Black Hole is now done for, and Behemoth now sits in the drop zone, and down comes the washing machine. My God, if that's not corporal punishment right there, then I don't know what is. Bye-bye Black Hole. Behemoth is through to the heat final, and joining him will be the winner of our next match. Will it be Apollo or the 12th seed Dantomkia?
Privateers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
You know, it would be really nice to see Apollo win this match, so that way he can fight Behemoth in the Heat Final, and we'd have a little rematch of the Robot Wars Series 10 Heat Final. Okay, never mind, I take that all back. I guess that's not going to happen after all. Apollo started off strong, getting the first flip on Dantomkia, but of course Dantomkia returned to favor, and for the cherry on top, he throws Apollo over and out. Man, that match was so short, the replays were as long as the fight itself. But alas, Apollo is gone, and Dantomkia, the 12th seed, is through to fight Behemoth in the Heat Final instead. So we're sort of getting a rematch from Robot Wars IRL. These two fought in the Series 7 All-Star Tournament, although Pussycat and King Bee Powerworks were in the arena with them. Anyway, it's time for predictions, and of course, Nick is up first.
Thank you, Rich. So it's almost time for the Heat J final between the black and yellow Behemoth and the black and yellow Dantomkia. Remember that when that was a thing last year? That was nice. It was fun. I don't think Rich picked up on it, though. Anyway, more important matters, this Heat final. It's kind of a big deal. It could go one of two ways. It could go the way of Behemoth, which things don't normally go his way, so it would be kind of nice to see Behemoth continue the form that he's in this season and progress to the series semifinals. Or it could go the way of the seeded machine, which is also something that hasn't been happening a lot, especially this season. Dantomkia is in a position that not a lot of the big names have been able to get to, and that's sad because it's only the Heat final. But can he continue the form that he has discovered and make it to the series semifinal? They're both lifters, they're both flippers. One's got significantly better ground clearance, and one has an extra weapon in the form of an axe. With the way these two have been fighting, I want to lean towards Behemoth, but Dantomkia is a seed, and he just chucked Apollo out in like less than 15 seconds, so I don't think we can rule him out just yet. What do you think, Rich?
Thanks, Nick. So, Behemoth and Dantomkia for tonight's Heat final. I'm sure a lot of you want Dantomkia to win just so we can have another seeded bot in the semifinals. But to be honest, Dantomkia did not have much of a challenge tonight. He spent 3 minutes straight throwing General Chomsalot around the arena, and against Apollo, he disposed of him rather quickly. Behemoth just might be his first real challenge. I mean, he's been absolutely merciless tonight. We saw what he did against Mortis and Black Hole. He's been relying on that axe for the most part. Dantomkia has a lot of ground clearance that Behemoth can easily exploit. He could just turn him over and score some shots with that axe. And here's some interesting bit of trivia for you. When I was watching Robot Wars Series 10 for the first time with my dad, and we got to the fight between Apollo and Behemoth, my dad picked Apollo to win. And I remember telling him that I had a slight speck of hope for Behemoth to win that Heat final. And lo and behold, he did. He won the match, he won the Heat, and became a grand finalist. Now, I'm feeling that speck of hope for Behemoth returning to me. So, I'm picking Behemoth to win. Who do you think is going to win, Blacksmith? I see. Let's start the Heat final.
Behemoth. Dantomkia.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Alright, the final fight of the night. Behemoth under Dantomkia, who backs out a bit quickly to avoid that axe of Behemoth, but not the scoop though. Behemoth turning Dantomkia over and holding him down, preventing Dantomkia from self-righting. That was a clever move by Behemoth as he turned Dantomkia over a couple more times and got him pinned against the wall, swinging away with the axe. Not scoring any hits though. Here's the first flip from Behemoth, turning Dantomkia over once and twice and thrice, tumbling him over into the corner patrol zone. Dantomkia overturned again against the wall, and he's able to right himself and run away from Behemoth, but Behemoth is able to trap him against the wall and flip him over again. The number 12 seed is struggling here early on. Behemoth finally gets a hit on Dantomkia with the axe, and again, Dantomkia on top of the angle grinder. Can Behemoth get him out? Not quite. He turned Dantomkia over again and scored another hit with the axe, and again, right on the side of Dantomkia, who is finally back on his wheels. Behemoth doing all the hard work here, flipping Dantomkia over and scoring a bunch of hits with the axe. Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark. Behemoth got Dantomkia back in the corner patrol zone. Dantomkia needs to come up with something quick because Behemoth has been dominant from the very start of this match. He is now up on his rear end. Behemoth got him against the wall, swinging away with the axe. Is he going to be able to finish off the number 12 seed? He is now smoking, and we're all joking, and I'm not joking. We're about to see another seed fall, and down goes Dantomkia. Behemoth has done it. He is the winner of tonight's Heat. Here are the final blows from the axe to the number 12 seed Dantomkia, and Behemoth is moving on to the semifinals. And so wraps up another heat with another seeded machine falling in the heat final stage. Behemoth wins this heat, and now he's got to go put on his bravest face because he is moving on to the series semifinals. He's been absolutely ruthless throughout this entire heat. Could he possibly go all the way? What do you think, Nick?
Thanks, Rich. That's another heat concluded here at the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, and on one end, we do lose another seed for the time being. They just haven't been cutting it all year long, so at this point, we're kind of numb to it. But on the bright side, it's Behemoth who's going through the series semifinal, and with a bot like them, they've had so much poor luck in real life over the years, and even a little bit in our competitions. It's kind of nice to see that he gets the rub of the green in his favor. As for Dantomkia, he's going to enter the wildcard mix that just gets a little more complex with his presence in it, and there's still unknowns. We still got a couple heats to do here, so I know you guys like predicting in the comments. Do your best with what information you got, because nobody's going to be able to 100% call this, especially when I give you this little teaser. There's more wildcards this year than last, so have fun debating how many, and then with that information, who is going to be in, because I don't think it'll matter. Just sit back, watch, have a great time, and we'll see you next week where we're going to place 2 more bots in those 2 important positions while another 6 are going to go home, and all of you guys will hopefully have a great time. Take care.